Welcome to the Taproom Exclusive. I'm Dean Zarbaugh. I'm here at Working Class Brewery. I'm sitting across from Richard Skains and Carmen Russoniello, sorry. I don't know why I forgot. I apologize. We literally just went over this, but thank you both for being here. This is a great brewery. This is my first time here. I appreciate you letting me. Be here and have the time to talk on the show. I just finished the Tinner's Red Ale. Fantastic. I'm a huge red ale fan. I love reds. I love malt. Right. What's one of your favorite ingredients to brew with?
Actually, I'd like to just comment on the Tinner's Red Ale because it's also one of my favorites that nice. I fell in love with at Pizza Ports out in San Diego.
Okay.
And so
I was like, I used to live in L.A., so I know that name.
Yeah, no, and so it's modeled after a West Coast style red.
Yeah,
so.
This is fantastic. And what was the inspiration to come here and actually start brewing? I know you were a home brewer for a while. You have some experience you worked at Rocky River and Fatheads. Is that correct?
Right.
Finally, just decided, you know what, I want to branch off on my own. What was the kind of evolution to starting Working Class?
Well, I think part of it is. You get to the point where you get tired of solving other people's problems. And I had a couple other offers along the way to getting Working Class open, but ultimately it was always like, well, do I really want to step in? And so it was more about, if you're going to work hard, you might as well work hard for yourself.
Right,
and I
exactly.
think Carmen's probably in the same boat on that.
Yeah, that's why I started the show. I can go work for other people or I can do my own thing and do it how I want.
Absolutely.
And, that's a great business model, and that's what a lot of the people in the craft beer world I find have been, is just they want to take it off. They want to just kind of be their own bosses and do their own thing for a little while. And
well, it's very laborious, so there's a lot of labor and sweat that goes into it. And so I think you've seen lately a lot of brewers leave tenured positions at big breweries just to have a piece of ownership because they're the ones putting in the serious labor that goes along with it.
I've talked on the show before about how I couldn't do what you do. Like that, I have anxiety. I have like all these issues that I don't have patience, and that's the main thing I found that a lot of people are saying. You need patience to do this, and that's totally understandable.
Well, there's a lot of things that can go wrong during the day, and so it's an obstacle course sometimes of trying to solve problems.
Right.
Things equipment has issues.
Yeah. There's times where you love technology and there's times where you want to curse it.
Right.
And I applaud you guys that do this. I really couldn't do it. First beer I wanted to feature, outside of the Tinners, obviously, I just talked about, is the Pipefitter's Porter. Fantastic porter you guys have. I'm sipping on this right now. What was kind of the evolution of this beer being made? Are you a porter fan?
Boy, I tell you, I'm a real porter fan, and it's there's so many different routes to go with a porter.
Mm-hmm.
It's finding that combination of kind of coffee, chocolate, roastiness. Finding that balance in the beer. So that beer was a long evolution of trying different things and
just getting that balance.
Yeah.
What was the kind of challenges with it? Was it like getting the malt mix kind of balanced out? Or
I think sometimes it's tricky getting that sort of coffee note into a beer without actually using coffee. Mm-hmm. So we have a particular grain that we use, and trying to balance that with the chocolate.
Yeah.
And so you have all these specialty malts out there, but they're very different from malting company to malting company, and so. I'm pretty religious when it comes to using, Simpson's malts.
Nice. That, consistency is key in this industry. And this is, I'm not always a porter drinker. I like porters. It's kind of one of those things I have to be in the mood for. This is fantastic.
We have, Great Lakes in town who.
That's a high bar. That's a high bar to set.
Yeah, their porter is,
it's fantastic, but this definitely gives it a run for its money. It's the smoothness with that nice roasted character. That's
Yeah,
fantastic.
we had the head brewer from Great Lakes was in the other night, and
Nice.
I put it right.
Mark?
Right, yeah, Mark
Yeah.
Unger. Yeah, so I
He's
put
been
it,
on the show. Very nice dude.
I put it right out in front of him. Hey, Mark,
Nice.
what do you think?
Really nice guy. And so you guys, when did you guys open over here? About a year ago or so? A little bit over
A year ago, this past June.
Oh, congratulations. 1 year now, and what's kind of been finally settling in a little bit? That first year seems to always be, a really hard year on everybody.
Well, it's finding what your flagship beers are. I mean, you kind of walk into this with what you want them to be, and it's really sales that dictate
Right.
what
Absolutely.
they actually are.
And the people seem to be liking the porter a lot. It's got everything I want in a porter, and it's not – the thing I always worry is sometimes if it's going to be too heavy or too light of a taste. Right. And this is just – it strikes a nice balance in the middle, and it gives you everything you want in a porter and more.
I think that's the real trick with that beer is finding that balance of all those wonderful flavors.
What was it about porters that attracted you to that style? Do you like malt? Is that like a good? Do you like that profile?
I like the roasty.
You like the roasty?
I drink my coffee black.
See, this is the funny thing. I might have talked about this before. I don't drink coffee. I hate coffee. I know. I apologize. Oh, everybody's
not
leaving.
American.
Everybody's walking away now. Everybody's walking away. I've offended everybody. Oh my goodness. But the only time I can have my coffee is in a beer.
Right.
And that's kind of, it's almost funny that I gravitate towards like the porters and stuff like that when I'm wanting it, because I don't like coffee to begin with. How hard is it to bring someone like me who doesn't like coffee into that style? Do you tell people beforehand, that you might get some coffee notes or?
Oh, absolutely. I think you just have to convince people to take a sip of it, because there's sometimes a stigma against dark beers, and a lot of people and a lot of drinkers' minds that don't drink craft beer.
Right.
So we've had so many people come in here. They don't drink dark beer, but they love our dark beers, whether it's our chocolate stout or the porter or even the smoke porter.
Yeah.
For Christ's sake, people try it and they're like, oh my God, I actually like this.
Well, yeah, and Carmen was talking a little bit about the smoke porter as well, and so this is the Pipefitter's porter is the base for that, correct?
Yes.
And then you add, is it like a smoked malt? I've always wondered how you get the smokiness into those beers, because it's not necessarily like a flavor I necessarily look for, but when I find it, it's really good.
I mean, the way the malting companies produce that malt is in the drying process.
Okay.
They're blowing smoke and oxygen through the grain bed. It does over time, as the smoke malt ages, it does dissipate a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So what we do is we actually smoke some of our own malt as well.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I bring in a lot of German smoked malt, but then I'll smoke a couple sacks of malt myself, just to bump that smokiness up a little bit to make sure we're going to get what we want in the finished product.
Carmen just put the engine house in front of me, which is the smoked
porter.
Yeah, and I'm about to take a sip. I haven't had one yet, so talk a little bit about this versus the base Pipefitter's porter.
Well, we just
outside of the smoke, is there anything else that differentiates it, or is that basically
no, not at all. There's nothing. Yeah, no, it's especially when you're smoking your own malt. Determining what type of wood you want to use and knowing good process, so you're not getting acrid flavors. We actually smoke our malt in a dryer. We converted a closed dryer into a smoker. So
how does one do that?
We took the
MacGyver.
Yeah, actually, I was
you just watching reruns. Like, what is this?
I was mentioning it at a beer dinner down at Great Lakes. And the other brewers there at the end of the dinner were like, we want to borrow your dryer. But what we did was pull the heating element out and put it in an offset box.
Gotcha.
So the wood goes in the offset box with the heating element from the dryer. We line the inside with a stainless screen. So we'll just put the malt in the drum, and it tumbles it. It's perfect.
Wow.
And the smoke gets drawn in like through what was the lint trap.
Okay.
So the fan sucks it down into the drum.
That's a really cool idea.
And then we have like a hydrator built into the door, so it dampens the husk of the malt, so it picks up more of the smoke aroma.
Oh wow, that's fantastic. So with the base pipe fitters, if someone wanted to, you guys don't have a kitchen here, correct? But you invite people to bring food, or you guys also have like food trucks.
We're actually on track to have pizza here.
Oh, nice! Very
Just a
cool.
small little pizza kitchen, but we'll still bring in pop-up kitchens.
Nice. The reason I bring that up is if someone wanted to have something to eat with the pipe fitters porter, what would you recommend as a nice pairing option with that?
I would imagine any sort of smoked food. We got Hatfield's Good Grubs up the street from us. Nice. Good pulled pork sandwiches, brisket sandwiches, pizza, sausage, pepperoni.
Nice.
Any sort of meat is going to go good with a dark, roasty beer.
Would you say the same thing with the?
Of course. Nice. Of course.
Yeah.
We're planning on doing a chili cook-off here in October.
Yeah, you were mentioning that.
Focusing our engine house smoke porter.
Nice.
That has to be the criteria. You have to use
that's going to be a thing
have to use the porter. This will be the second one. We did it last year. We got to do it again.
Nice.
So these are events that are happening here in October and in November, the cold months.
Yeah, that's
people like to nest when it's cold. So
yeah, especially around here.
Come nest here.
Yeah, and in October, November, who knows what we're going to get around here?
Exactly.
I appreciate you guys being here talking about the pipe fitters porter and the smoke porter. I appreciate your time. We'll cut. We'll tune in next week for another episode on Working Class Brewery. Thank you, guys.
All right. Cheers. Thank you.